इसलिए निवेदन करते हैं। नमस्कार।
बहुत बहुत आभार आप सभी का। आज हम डोंट स्टॉप ऑन बी डे सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं। बहुत ही पुण्य और पवित्र उद्देश्य है, क्योंकि हम ह्यूमन बीइंग्स दूसरे प्राणियों की चिंता करना छोड़ चुके हैं, और पर्टिकुलरली वो भी एक ऐसे प्राणी की जिसमें एक ऐसी क्षमता है वो मोबिलिटी की कि वो एक चीज को दूसरी चीज तक, दूसरी से तीसरी मंजिल तक पहुंचाने में समर्थ है, जिसे हम पॉलिनेशन कहते हैं। और उससे हमारे पराग कणों से हमारी फसल की प्राप्ति होती है, फसल हो, शहद हो। सो आई वुड लाइक टू वेलकम यू ऑल ऑन बीज बीज protect for pollination. Please, I would like to request Professor V.K. Agnihotri sir for welcoming, Vishnu Prasad Sharma ji for welcoming our speakers.
Namaskar. Good evening to everybody. Respected distinguished guests, eminent speaker, ladies and gentlemen. I, Professor Dr. Vishnu Prasad Sharma, welcome all of you to this AYUSH SAMRIDDHI International Conference Series on Bees Protect for Pollination. Most important subject today we have. In this webinar, we have eminent speaker. I want to welcome Dr. Suparna Sainal Mukherjee from Bolpur, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Education, School of Humanities, Sikkim, Skila University, Bolpur. Namaskar, Madam, and welcome you to this Samriddhi International Conference Series. Next, I want to welcome Dr. Soikot Kumar Basu, Executive Research Director, Performance Seed, Let Breeze, Alberta, Canada. Namaskar, sir, and welcome you to this AYUSH SAMRIDDHI International Conference Series on Bees Protect and Pollination. Once again, I welcome all the eminent speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to this AYUSH SAMRIDDHI International Conference. Thank you. Namaskar. Over to Pawan ji.
थैंक यू वेरी मच। बहुत बहुत आभार सर आपका। मैं आदरणीय अग्निहोत्री सर को ब्रीफ प्रियम्बल के लिए और सेकंड वसु के आह्वान जी के लिए बुला रहा हूँ।
थैंक यू प्रोफेसर पवन शर्मा जी, थैंक यू सो मच। नमस्कार सभी को। Really, it's a great topic which has been chosen today for this webinar based on the bees. And as rightly told by you, that it is the bees which should be protected by all means, because it is a wonderful laboratory built in its body, which gives us not only this honey, but also the wax. So it's a great important thing that how we are supposed to protect them for greater benefit of the mankind, at the same time for their life also. Not only this, the pollination itself is a great thing which cannot be done manually or by man so decently, which is done by these creatures to that extent where to that place they can fly and go and they reach there. So this is what the miraculous contribution made by them, knowingly or unknowingly, but the human beings are benefited. So it already gives us responsibility to protect them. So for their protection or the greater cause of this pollination, it becomes our humans' duty not to disturb not to disturb their life. Sometimes kids, they used to go to catch that just like butterfly also, simply because of their attractiveness. And if by mistake any wing is being snatched from that body, they become handicapped. So it's very, very important to protect them beauty is to see, not to touch under the formula of this thing, that if they are doing their job, their saliva is so important, and so is their product made by them. So with these words, we are going to listen a lot and going to increase our knowledge on the topic which has been based on the bees life and the bees contribution. Thank you so much. And in the same connection, as Kamaji told, that our great speaker, our great knowledge person, Dr. Shekhar Kumar Vasuji is with us, and definitely we are going to learn a lot from him on this very important topic. So with these words, I invite Dr. Shekhar Kumar Vasuji for his presentation. Namaskar.
Thank you very much to all the dignitaries and participants. It's an honor to be present on this platform one more time. And this topic is very close to my heart because it directly comes under my research area. So I'm very happy to share my experience, my observations, and what I feel with all of you. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. So first of all the insects and organisms on the world, you possibly could be hearing from the newspaper, TV programs, and everywhere that bees are very important. And there is, like, we have come through this COVID-19 pandemic. But even prior to this COVID-19 pandemic, there has been a bee pandemic that has been happening around the world. So why is this that bees are dying at a very alarming rate, at a very large number? And why is that it is so much associated with our society? I say it that bee conservation or bee death is associated with our economy and ecology. It not only impacts our environment, it not only impacts and distorts the ecological system, but it also have very significant long-term impact on our economic system. And it is not just restricted to our country, it is a global phenomenon. So just like COVID-19 pandemic, I call this a bee pandemic, where there has been reports across the world where particularly huge number of deaths of bees have been reported. It is interesting to mention too that while we are talking about these bees, there has been also numerous research reports across the world, and particularly from tropical, subtropical, and subtemperate countries where there is a very substantially big insect population, that there has been an insect apocalypse happening around the world. What do you mean by insect apocalypse? It means there is just like, the Holocaust that we have seen during the Second World War, of the Holocaust of the helpless Jewish community across Europe. It is like the helpless Holocaust of the bees and insects in general. So insects in large number are dying across the world. And one of the most important factor for this has been the increasing use of synthetic chemical pesticides, which includes insecticides, which includes weedicides, algicides, fungicides, everything that are capable of killing organic life. And at the same time, the extensive use of synthetic chemical fertilizers. Now, agriculture is the cornerstone of our civilization. As humans, we have evolved. Today, agriculture is not simply an activity, it's a global industry. Even if we look into modern India, if we still call it a majorly agrarian country. Even for Canada, it is indicated as an agrarian country than an industrialized country, because a vast majority of the people across these two countries are associated with the profession of agriculture in various ways. Whether you are directly involved, whether you are indirectly involved, around 70% of our population in some way in India is involved with agriculture profession. Whether you are a farmer, you are a producer, you are a laborer, you are a worker, you are associated with the industries that produce those chemicals for this, or you are a subscriber, user, strategist, scientist, ecologist, conservator, we are all associated with this. So it's a huge, massive global industry. There is no country in the world that is not associated with agriculture. And as our agricultural techniques have improved, as science of chemistry has improved, and the synthesis of chemicals have become a global industrial scale success, we have been able to synthesize more and more toxic chemicals, which are extremely efficient in killing various pests. Now, what do we mean by pest? When we use the word pest, we are actually identifying organisms which are present in our ecosystem, but because they are detrimental to our economic growth, we designate them as pest. So, for example, all the fungi, all the insects that causes great reduction in our agricultural productivity, we call them as pest. But this is a terminology that has been given by us as humans. Similarly, there are many insects, for example, flies, mosquitoes, which are also part of our ecosystem, but their increase in their number is detrimental to human health. So whether there is enteric diseases, whether there is malaria, these insects are responsible for that. So good but at the same time, while we have these harmful insects, we also have a scores of very important insects like bees, which are eco-friendly and which are farmer-friendly. Why? Because they help in the process of cross-pollination, which is the process of transfer of anther of pollen grains from the male to the female parts of the plant, which means the male part is anther, the female part is the top of the part is the ovary, and the top of the ovary is the stigma. So this transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma between the same flower across different species, cross species, this process is efficiently conducted on this planet by a number of factors. So there are biological factors like, say, for example, bees, moths, butterflies, beetles, flies, and various other species of insects, snails, slugs, even birds, mammals, all are responsible for this process of cross-pollination. They have different categories, they have different names, but none is more efficient than the bees because of their fluffy needle-like hairs on their body, which efficiently help in the transfer of pollen grains from one plant to another. Plants are immobile, so they are not capable of doing their own reproduction. They need these biotic agents for helping in their process of cross-pollination. But other than these biological organisms, air, water, all these, wind, these are also responsible for the purpose of cross-pollination. For example, for our wheat, rice, all these monocot food crops, they are usually cross-pollinated through the process and agency of wind. For many of the aquatic submerged and submerged plants that we see on our ditches, ponds, pools, everywhere, they are also pollinated, but they are partly pollinated by biological agents, partly pollinated by wind, and they are also pollinated by water, where anthers get transferred from one plant to another through the water current. But nothing is more efficient than bees. And because of this bee pollination, three industries are associated with. This is where the economy comes into play across the world. What are these three economies, or the three industries? First and foremost is agriculture. So the production of crop is directly related to the bees because bees help in the process of cross-pollination, and thus the increase in the productivity of cross has been documented and research data has been collected all across the world, and it has constantly shown that if there is a decline of natural pollinators like bees, there is a subsequent reduction in the process of our crop production. So there is less production that we could look forward, no matter how much insecticide, pesticides we apply, no matter how much synthetic fertilizers we apply. The next industry is apiculture, which is honey production. Now, bees do not produce honey for us. It's a byproduct of this process that we are enjoying. And we have sophisticated these apiculture industries. We have generated new strains of bees. We have developed various cultural techniques of commercially growing them very efficiently. And these particular species of bees which produce honey around the world are known as honeybees, predominantly represented by the species Apis mellifera, Apis mellifica. There are various other associated species with this. And how this honey is produced, most of us, I see during lectures, we talk that bees collect honey from the flowers. This is a totally wrong concept. Plants do not produce honey. Bees produce honey. And how is this produced? Insects like bees will visit flowers, and there is an incentive for the flowers during the course of evolution to attract these helpful insect pollinators like bees. And these are rich, sugary exudes that these plants secrete. Take part as and when these plants take part in the process of pollination, the bees visiting them, they will collect this rich exudate, they will collect pollen grains, they collect pollen grains on their basket because a part of these they fed it to their young ones, from the larvae, from the eggs that are being laid by the queen bees, the larvae that generate, and the new bees that are coming out, they need food. So for producing the food, the bees will collect that nectaries and will come back to the house, to their hive, and while they will, as they are absorbing it in their gut or intestinal system, there are various enzymes which work on these sugary exudates to convert them into honey. Then they will vomit it out through their, by processed by their salivary glands, and then the next bee also pick up and swallows that, and then again it undergoes a process of fermentation through various enzyme in another bee's contract, and from this bee to bee, this honey is processed, it is matured, and we get the finally cured high quality honey that we are looking for. It's a byproduct in which they use this honey partly for feeding to their youngs, but because we have commercially made it successful, they produce honey way in excess of their need, and thus we get this huge honey. Not only humans, but other animals like bears and various monkeys and various other species in the wild, they also, even there are birds called honey buzzards that also collect parts of these bee colonies or waxy hives to collect and get this sugar exudate. Various other small mammals also try and survive on this. This is a natural intersystem connection, but humans have successfully made this into a commercial enterprise. So this is what honey is. So this is the second industry, the apiculture. And the third industry, which is not known as an industry in India, but this is also a major industry, which is called the forest industry. Our forest produces major and minor forest products, which includes timber, leaf, forest product, medicinal plants, medicinal fungi, as also honey is also produced in the forest. But most importantly, these huge massive trees, 20, 30 feet tall, who is pollinating them? Bees are an efficient pollinators during the daytime, and during the nighttime, forest plants are pollinated by various frugivorous bats, bats which are vegetarian, who are restricted to a vegetarian diets of fruits and nuts, and they mostly will pollinate these flowers at night. So it is bats during the night and bees during the daytime. And why do we need the forest? Because without the forest, our entire ecosystem will get disrupted. We need that continuous balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide for the stability of our ecosystem and for the sustenance of the world as well as the human society. So three industries are dependent on bees, particularly agriculture, forestry, and apiculture. And as if you would look up throughout the entire world, both eastern or western hemisphere, northern or southern hemisphere, if you add up the developed and developing countries, rich or poor, honey is produced in every most countries other than extremely cold countries, which may be the polar and subpolar areas. But other than that, bees even survive in the cold countries and they hibernate during the winter, just like our bees in tropical countries, particularly say in India, they will hibernate or go into their hives during the monsoon season because their wings will get wet. But other than that, they're available to maintain, to do this ecological service throughout the year. Now, why is the bees are dying? This is the ecological service. This is where the economy connects. And I would say millions and millions of people across all the continents, whether Asia, Africa, Latin America, European Union, North America, Australia, and the entire vast oceanic islands that we have are all maintained by bees for maintaining the cross-pollination of the plants and for the ecosystem to thrive. So they are the lifeblood of the ecosystem. Our famous scientist Albert Einstein said that if the bees vanish from our ecosystem, humanity will vanish one day too, because it will not only impact our economy, it will impact our ecology. But now the question is why they are dying at such a large number. They are dying at such a large number, particularly because of our human or anthropogenic activities. Climate change, global warming has impacted our environment. The huge level of pollution around the world that is happening, whether it's air pollution, whether it's water pollution, soil pollution, these are all impacting. The land use has been changing over the time. How lands are being used in agriculture, it's been extensively changing, and I'll give some examples. Say, for example, in case of India, we do not have huge agricultural fields. What is a big agricultural field? 10 acres, 15 acres, 20 acres? A 30 acres field or a 50-acre field is a huge giant farmer in India. This does not even count as a farmer in Western countries. In these countries, a farm is actually 5,000 acre, 10,000, 15, 20,000 acres. I have visited farms that are 50,000 acre, gigantic farms, which are operated entirely by the machine. And these are monocrop varieties, because what wheat means that if they are growing wheat, they are growing wheat for 50,000 hectares. If they are growing canola, or which means mustard, they are going it for 60,000 acres. Because it is operated by machine, it is not possible for them to do mixed cropping. Otherwise, these crops will get intermixed, because it is not humans who are harvesting over these huge gigantic areas. They use machines, mechanical operative system for harvesting for it. So it is convenient for them to grow one crop, which is called a monocrop system, compared to in India, where we have multi-cropping system, or fields which are multi-crops. They may be small, but they are growing various different crops. Someone is growing wheat, someone is growing tomatoes, someone is growing cabbages, next someone is growing sesame. Depending upon the season, various people are growing in small plots various different kinds of crops in an adjoining area. What it helps is the process is not everyone is spraying at the same time. So if one farmer is spraying insecticide in his field, some potential pollinators will definitely die, but others have the opportunity to move to the other fields, because we do not synchronize, we do not pollinate, or we do not what you call irrigate, or we do not fertilize, or we do not spray insecticides, pesticides at the same time. But in Western countries, what happens is, on a less cold day, which is less windy, brightly sunny, these days are selected for insecticide spraying through air, particularly by using small aircrafts. Now, when this spraying is done, these are the days which are also attractive for a large number of insects to visit the crops, including millions of pollinators. So the idea is the droplets will come down from the plant in the early morning as soon as the sun has risen, and these chemical droplets will settle on the plants. The plants will absorb them, and because the plants are absorbing them, any harmful insects that are getting there will consume the plant tissue, and they will die, because this is toxic or poison, particularly for the insects, not for the plants. Weedicides are the only chemicals that are selectively used for killing weed plants. So you have heard about glyphosates and other groups of insecticide. They do not kill insects, they do kill the weedicides, but they do have harmful sub effects for various kinds of insects, as we are getting into the research. Now, as all these things are killing harmful insects, they cannot segregate between friendly insects and non-friendly insects. They are also killing the pollinator insects, and particularly bees, in massive number. And this has been happening around the world. One fine morning, a farmer goes up, and a bee farmer or an apiculturist go in front of his beehive or his Langstroth boxes where they are commercially growing the bees, and they could see millions of bees are lying dead in front. This particular disease has been technically termed as colony collapse disorder, CCD. No one actually knows what is the exact cause of this colony collapse disorder, where the entire colony is dying. But it has been added to a multiple factors. First of all, there has been a lack of various amount of forage plants that the bees are dependent on foraging. Many plant species that the bees depend upon are getting extinct. So there are bees which are dependent on one or two specific species of plant. If these species of plant are extinct, then those particular species of bees will also get extinct. And again, there are bee species which forage on a number of different plants. They have a better chance of survival. As these plants are getting extinct from our environment, or their numbers are subsequently reduced, our bees are getting malnourished. They are suffering from malnourishment, and as a consequence, bees are getting exposed to bacterial, fungal, viral diseases, malnourishment, as well as poor genetics, and they are getting wiped out with every onset of any parasitic diseases they are being exposed to. Nonetheless, the neonicotinoids group of insecticides have been found to be extremely toxic. Bees, like other flies, have a habit of cleaning their body. If you have closely observed any fly, the housefly, Musca domestica, you will see that this fly has a habit of continuously cleaning their legs, continuously wiping and cleaning their antennae, continuously cleaning their body. Now, bees, being flies, also have the same habit. They have a habit of continuously cleaning their bodies, and because these droplets of chemicals, as fine drops of spray, when they have landed on their body accidentally, as they are cleaning their body, they are ingesting it. It is coming inside their body, getting into their system, and they're killing them. More significantly, it is also impacting their nervous system. Bees have their own, they have a small nervous system, but a very intelligent system. I call them the GPS, the global positioning system of the bees, with which they will use sun as a standard for doing a particular specific dance, and through that dance or bee dance, they communicate the distance of flowers from where, how far they have to go from the hive, what angle, what kind of flower species, whether it is worth visiting those fields. All kinds of information they are exchanging among various members of the beehive. Even if there is a danger, they are communicating. But because these chemicals are landing on their antennae and is impacting their brains, what is happening is most hundreds and thousands of bees are losing track of where they are coming from. Bees, like pigeons, have a very homing tendency. They will collect the nectaries and pollen grains, and they have to come back to their hive to complete their duty, and this they will do throughout the day. If by chance they land in a different hive or a different box, then that particular species of bees is, although this is the same species, but they are not accepted. So if you are a bee of colony A, you are expected to come back to your colony A, and you are welcome, you are greeted, and you are part or member of the colony. But if you by chance have moved into colony B or colony C or D, then these other colonies will not accept you. They will kill you. This is how the bee society works. They do not accept bees from other colonies into their own colony. So many bees, because of this insecticide poisoning, are losing track of their passage. Sometimes they are losing track of their time. So even in cold countries, if they could not find which hive to go back, and if they overstay for 1 or 2 hours during the chilling evening, they will die in massive numbers, because not many of us know that bees maintain temperature of their hives. They will flap their wings. That will help to increase the temperature. And sometimes when they do not flap their wing, the temperature goes down. So by this, they can increase the temperature at such a high extent that can kill any parasites sometimes that moves into their beehive. This is a natural way of keeping away predators or other thieves or other insects like hornets that sometimes steals into the beehive to collect honey or to collect their eggs and larvae. So at this stage, because these bees are getting ill navigated, their GPS system is being tracked because of this insecticidal poisoning, they are unable to get back, and they are dying in millions of numbers. But this is the case of honeybees, the commercial honeybees, Apis mellifera, Apis mellifica. If they die, you can buy new colonies, and you can replenish or replace your old colony by new colonies. It is a common habit of the apiculturist. Once their colony gets old, they get a new viable queen from from certified colony producers who provide you with colonies, and through which you multiply your colony, you change your colony, you upgrade your colony. This is possible. But think about what is happening to the native bees or the wild bees or the endemic bees, which are not commercial honey producers. These bees do not make hives on the trees, and they do not raise bees in the bee boxes. Unfortunately, they live under the soil. And what happens is, because of these residual chemicals, either in the form of synthetic chemical fertilizers or in the form of synthetic pesticides, they are being washed away by the rainwater or the irrigation water, and they percolate down into the soil. Many of these percolated chemicals reach deep down into the groundwater or these bee colonies, where they're killing the queen bees. Now, in case of bee society, the queen bee is associated with the reproductive part. They produce millions of eggs throughout their lifetime, and that maintains the sustainability of the beehive. If the queen bee is killed, the entire management or the entire functionary of the entire bee colony is completely disrupted. Because of the successive deaths of various species of queen bees on the soil, in many Western countries, several species of ground-dwelling bees are showing signs of extinction or have already become extinct. Scientists report that 97 to 99% of their population has crashed drastically, and many of these species are not available anymore. So this is alarming, and this is one of the reasons that we are seeing this unprecedented increase in bee deaths around the world. Now, our farmer friends get a subsidy on the use of these agricultural chemicals around the world, because we need to promote agriculture, as well as they're important voters and members of the society through which the governments are dependent on for their votes. As a consequence, our farmer friends, both in developing and developed countries, have become irresponsible. In the sense, if you look into any pesticide container that you buy from the shop, they provide you a dosage that you are going to, suppose, mix 10 ml into 1 liter of water, or 20 ml into 200 or 500 liters of water, or this is the way of mixing, and they provide a threshold level and warn that you are not going to spray beyond that level. If you are spraying beyond that level, then you are welcoming two dangers. Once, you are not only killing your pest, you are also killing non-target pests like family insects such as pollinators, such as bees, moths, butterflies, beetles, flies, etc. And at the same time, you are increasing the resistance of the insects to which you are exposing these chemicals. Say, for example, I am a harmful insect, and if you are spraying me with this toxic chemical at a very high dose, which can kill me at a lower doses, then it generates genetic mutations, and it results in resistant species. One or two will survive that are capable of withstanding even that high dose. And when they reproduce, they will produce a batch of new population which are capable of resisting that particular dose of chemical that has been sprayed in the field. As a consequence, with the increase of the resistant population over the time, over 3 years, 4 years, 5 years time, that particular insecticide become ineffective. Then the farmer has to replace it with another chemical, or you have to even increase your dosage higher and higher. It is not that our farmers around the world are not aware of this, but they are not taking responsibility as responsible citizens of this world. It is true that we are all worried about that at the end of the season we get a good crop yield, because this is on which their economy depends, but at the same time they are not caring for the ecology. Efforts need to be increased to increase the awareness of the farmers that through their actions, they are increasing resistant variety of various pest species, whether fungi, whether insects, whether various other forms of organisms that they are trying to kill. And at the same time, they are wiping off the most friendly insects. For example, in many countries now, farmers are using their hands to pollinate by brushing male flowers on the female flowers. You can only do it for a small part of the field. If your field is huge, it is not humanly possible to do that, and the labor cost will go up so high that it becomes impossible to efficiently do that. But even in India, hand pollination of various cucurbitaceae family plants are happening because of the absence of natural pollinators, because of overspraying of these synthetic chemical insecticides. So this being said, I'd like to conclude my presentation here by saying that we are going through a very hard time around the world where our bees are dying at an alarming rate. I thank the AYUSH authorities for giving me this opportunity to at least share the stories of their plight to the community members that we have here, so that we are aware of what dangers we are pushing in. And because it is associated both with our ecology and our economy, if our agriculture dies, our apiculture dies, and forestry dies, how many thousands and millions of people around the world will become helplessly unemployed? So by looking into this, we need to take care. We need to be doing agriculture more efficiently, protectively, by saving these our friendly pollinator insects such as bees. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. We'll look forward to if you have any questions. And once again, thank you so much for inviting me.
Excellent, excellent, Dr. Sekhar, really excellent. Oh, you have really means autobiography of a bee. You have explained what they do and how they do, and really what are their specific characteristic and why we should save them, protect them. Really great. Really great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Agnihotri sir.
Thank you, Professor Pawan Sharmaji. Thank you, Dr. Sekharji. A wonderful revealing of the fact that it is the bee to bee and it makes the honey. From bee to bee, then honey. One word you used in reference to the honey bee, that is Apis mellifica. What I remember was last 50 years or so, Apis mellifica is the medicine used by the homeopath, and they used to use
Yes,
in
yes,
case of
you are right.
fissure and fistula. That was prescribed to me by Dr. Mukherjee way back in 1977 or so. that too of 1000 potency, once you take in a month, and it will be no more the concept of or occurrence of any fistula. So is it derived from that honeybees saliva also?
The saliva of
Just
honeybees, and particularly also the enzyme present in their gut. Like, we have been able to create a lot of synthetic products in the laboratory, but we have not been able to replicate those enzymes. They are very sensitive, temperature sensitive. We may be looking towards for creating synthetic. Adulterated honey is available, but synthetic honey produced in the laboratory is not very successful at this present point of time, but it may come up during the long time with the modern researches, and particularly with the development of chemistry and chemical techniques. But who will replace the survey and the service of the bees, covering hundreds and thousands of hectares of land, going the painstaking job of moving from one flower to another? This is a job that the nature has created for the survival of the planet. If they vanish, I accept this comment made by Albert Einstein long time back, that humanity will vanish. If there are no bees, there will be no humans on this planet, because our food security will be hampered, our economy will be distorted, and our ecology will be completely devastated. Thank you.
I am 200% agree with your stand regarding the original honey and or the adulterated one. Our point was regarding the Apis mellifica, from where it is got, or it is the synthetic nowadays used by the homeopath.
This comes from the original bees. So just like Blanta, where they are using cockroaches for many of these medicine comes from so many sources. And if you look into traditional medicine, from plants, from animals, from various body parts and stuff, they are coming. So we are indebted to our natural resources for our survival and our economy. But we do not need to agree with that. We do not appreciate. This is why, as a human civilization, we are declining. We are damaging biodiversity, and we are reducing and damaging our natural resources, unfortunately.
That means it is not derived from the honey itself. It is derived from the. It's not derived from the honey.
No, not from the honey.
Because had there been such a thing, that honey might be a very
honey, in fact, it's used in Ayurveda, right? Like many of these medication, it is a base that is being traditionally used. But if you go to the doctors, they will warn you not to take honey, and I do not blame them. It is because I cannot name the brands, but all the brands of honey that you see on the shelves, I assure you, 85% of them, even coming from the biggest brands in India, are adulterated honey. They are not natural honey. They are mixed with adulteration. There is sugar mixed, so it is not good for health. The only honey that you can collect from directly from the farmers where they are producing the bees, if you go into the rural areas, this dark colored honey that you get from them, it is the quality honey. And another question that people have is that we have once a liquid honey and a solidified honey. If this one is better than that? No, it depends on the amount of crystallization. Some flowers produce from which honey is produced have higher number of crystals, so they solidify faster, and some plants have less number of crystals, so they stay in a liquefied form. Both are essential, both are nutritious. If they are not adulterated, they are one of the best food in the entire world, one of the best medicine in the entire world. But as humans, we have been so corrupt that even that honey that is on the shelves coming from one of the biggest brands, I cannot name them, 85% adulterated.
But at least there is a one outstanding instruction that it should not be given any heat. That is very, very important.
There are various ways of testing honey. If you taste them, you will understand that most of them are adulterated form. Big brands are cheating people.
Sir.
Yes.
I have produced approximately lakhs of tons of honey for Imami Jhandu honey, and I have found there is no production process which is not involving heating process. Heating is necessary to melt the bags and separate it from the honey. And in our Ayurveda classic text, it is clearly mentioned that if honey will be heated, it will be toxic for health. This is the main question.
And the constituents will also, many of the chemicals will break down. And then that same honey, which was nutritious, will turn poisonous.
Yes,
I think
yes,
I think as per the stand of Professor Pawan Sharma, it makes it clear that when you got the honey away from the wax, then it will not be heated. Up to the coverage of mixing of wax, you can heat them to take out the wax.
no,
No,
no.
there is
Because that
centrifugal
may be
process.
that may be a reading of in between the lines, because you told that it is heated, and we are interested that the wax can only be out with the help of the heat
No,
to
like
melt it out.
modern Agnihotri ji, modern honey
Yes, sir.
extraction procedures, you can have all the impurities in the honey and it will go in a centrifugal machine that will separate the honey from all the other debris. So the wax will separate out, the honeys will go out. They have to maintain a bit of temperature in between for honey processing and
Right.
stuff, but that is not heating or preheating. That is a temperature running for maintenance so that it does not cool down, does not solidify for the
Okay,
machines to process. But otherwise, the process is very, very good. But what happens is this, that the middlemen who procure this honey from the poor farmers, they fix a very low price, pushing them to sell it at a very, very low price. And then to make profits, they would adulterate with mixing honey with sugar and all other additives and stuff. And then they will sell it in the market. China has
right.
been, and then they also add false pollen grains. They will add dust pollen grains on that to make this adulterated. China has made a fortune at one point of time in European continent and North America for selling honey. Now China has been banned. They cannot sell honey in this country because they are producing adulterated sugar-rich honey. So same is done by many Indian companies, and it's a shame. They should not be doing it, but it's happening. And the monitoring and surveillance and the punishment in the Indian chain of system is so meager, and you can pay a small amount here and there, do chamchagiri and chaplusi, and you can get away through the system so easily that none of them are afraid that the brand name can be contaminated like you. So no one cares. So this is where this is flight of honey. I am not concerned with honey production. I am more concerned with the survival of the bees. So these are two separate issues, but it is important for us to know. Thank you. I will not take much time.
Suparna ji, I would like to request now Suparna Sanyal ji for her valuable comments. Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee. Respected Madam Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee, Madam.
I can see she has joined. I see
Yes,
her name in the list. Yeah. Should I give her a call that by chance if it is not working?
yes.
I just let me.
Thank you. Nice discussion on bees, sir. Really, bees are so important for us. Economy, ecology, means ecosystem. What can we say? So we have to definitely protect beach. Definitely we have to protect.
Sharmaji, she is having a little trouble in joining, but she's there. She will go out of the system and she will re-enter. So she's aware. She's on the line. She's trying to get in. So kindly
Okay.
bear with her a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Agnihotri, sir. Agnihotri, sir.
Yes, sir. Namaskar. She is very much in the list, and she might be trying. Okay.
Yeah. She's having a little problem to get in, but she will get in. But meanwhile, you can talk. Yeah, no problem.
I think Agi, she's here. Namaskar, ma'am. Namaskar.
Namaste, namaste. Very good evening to the all dignitaries over here.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much for giving me such an opportunity to say something on this platform. This AYUSH Samriddhi platform is always giving us more potentiality and more successful entries for this August platform. And I really thankful to the all dignitaries over here to say something. Though Dr. Saikat Kumar Basu has said all about the honeybees and the everything, do's and don'ts, whatever may be, but there is no point is left for me. But there is a single point is left for me for which I can emphasize upon. That is the anthropological point of view. So I would like to emphasize on the particular topic that honeybees conservation and it is need for the present era. What is this honeybee and why it is significant and why it is responsible for this present era? It has been observed that about 15 billion years ago, the Big Bang has happened. When the Big Bang has happened, and it had the human existence and the bees existence has been survived. It has been also observed that and believed that the 4.6 billion years ago, the human existence is appeared, the life existence has appeared in this planet. So there is a process of evolution. In case of that, we have seen that first there is the single animal, single cells animal, then the multicellular animals. So then but at the same time, there is the plant kingdom and animal kingdom, of which the bees are also surviving. The insects, the bees insect has been surviving, and they are come from the family. It's belong to the Apidae family and the Hypnoptera order of insects. Basically, honeybees are extremely useful insects in nature, especially the pollination purpose is there. Without the honeybees, the pollination would have been stopped. If the pollination would have been stopped, that there is no new generation of the plant kingdom should not be happen, because plant has a movement, they cannot work, and they have no certain areas of work of which they can be pollinated, and the new generation may be formed. Only the bees can help of it. In this aspect, we can say that the most important phenomena of these bees are that to maintain the biodiversity and to protect the environment and to protect the ecological balance. And this is the 70 to 80% pollination is achieved with the help of the bees only. So these bees are very effective insects which can help us and restore the human population in this present era. Because of this bees pollination of many plant species which have survived on this earth, and the biological diversity gets preserved and the ecosystem are flourished. For this maintaining the ecosystem, bees are very important, and bee pollination is also necessitated the bees conservation and bees protection, at the same time the protection of the human civilization. So we human beings, what we can do with the human beings too are benefited from the bees pollination. And since we get the best quality of fruits and the crops in large quantities, in addition to this, we get so many useful products from the bees, and especially the honey. So honey has the direct effect in the AYUSH also. AYUSH is giving us the more potentiality and the more effectiveness on the honey. The honey has the various qualities, and those honeys are also effective for our nutritional, and the same time the benefit of the various types of diseases can be protected by having this honey. So what is happening now afterwards? We can see that if there is a various potentiality, the honey has been incorporated in our modern life too. So when the honey conservation is going on, and the human being can think of the necessity of the honey conservation, then only we are protecting the bees. But what is happening? These bees are also available in the rural sector only, because where there is a plants, the bees are also present over there. And here it is, we have observed that there are the several pesticides which have been using for our agricultural aspects. The pollination is going to be affected, and the bees are getting hurted, and the bees colonies are affecting for that. There is a one tribe who are scientifically protecting the bees, and the same time using the bees in the name of the particular species which are the stingless bees. These stingless bees are also keeping and protecting by the tribes. And those types are the economic, socio-economic factors is pursuing for the bee cultivation and bee protection. So beekeeping practices are very important for the farmers, and the farmers' livelihood sustenance. Without the bees cultivation, this farmers cannot be succeeded for their procedural aspects of the agricultural aspect. And the socio-economic, the beekeeping is also the important parts of the socio-economic effect. Furthermore, it is not on the exaggeration or the, you can see that egalitarian society, those who are practicing and living in the monogamy and monopoly system, they also practicing the beekeeping for their daily livelihood sustenance. And life of the farmers in Indian subcontinent and adopting the scientific beekeeping practices in the process in the farming, which can be the effective remedy of the problems for and which can be effective remedy for getting interest and keeping them all right in a socio-economic and socio-cultural aspect. There are several tribal communities who practice the beekeeping, and they are the following the rituals for this beekeeping, because there is a deities over also there, which deities are very effective phenomenon for the tribal livelihood sustenance, because they feel that if they can protect the bees can be the bees are the pollinators, and which can be protected the human livelihood sustenance for the giving us the nutritious food. And if the pollination would not be happen, then we cannot get the nutritious food from the plant kingdom. So hence it is observed that the Apis genus and are found in India. This Apis dorsata, that is the rock bee. These rock bees are very important, and rock bees are happening in case of the tribal livelihood sustaining, because they are practicing this bee keeping for their honey conservation. At the same time, the other potentialities from the bees with the effectiveness of the pollination. So rock bees and dwarf honey bees are also wild bees, and hence these bees cannot be domesticated. So domestication is also the factor. One more honey bee is found in India, which does not belong to the Apis genus but belong to the Trigora genus, and which is the Meliponini. Meliponini is also another one tribe. They had practicing this bee conservation through the honeybees, and this bee is called Melipolinia ferungita. So this is the stingless bees, and this honey is also the very small insect, and which can be maintain their life cycle through this the very constant manner, and they can produce a honey for which the tribes are very effectiveness and make their socio-economic characteristics and practices. And this is the mechanism by which we can develop the socio-economic and socio-cultural at the same time the socio-political aspect, because the conservation is also a fact where the political aspect is also related. At the same time, the socio-religious practices is also necessitated the bee conservation and bee pollination thereof. So, hence we can say that this is the practice manner and the practice process by which the basic principle of ecology, at the same time that everything is connected with the anytime speciality else in nature. And even if one species disappear, it attracts and affects the existence of the other dependent species. So everything we all are interrelated. When we are maintaining the eco-balance, the environmental condition and environmental sustainability is always related with the human nature, bees, the pollinators, and the same time the other plants and animals. So it is very important that the bee conservation and bee practice is very essential part of this present era and this present generation, because we are practicing several types of mobile wavelength we are practicing. We are deteriorating the frequencies which is maintaining in the earth system. So hence the bees are getting affected by the frequency disturbances. So our responsibility to protect the bees and make the eco balance. At the same time, we can develop the bee bank. Bee bank is also a conservation process and restoration process by which we can develop the pollination. And the bee bank is also the creation of the nature orientation, because if we can create and we can maintain the nature, practice the bee orientation pollination process, then only we can get the better world and better future, which is necessitated for us for this present era, for this 21st century. And we are responsible to maintain our world, because now it is the AI system has been generated. We are living in a modern era where there is no sentimental issues, but we have to think with the sentiment. We have to think for twice for this, not only the brain capacity, we have to think twice for our heart, because this is the practice and this is the our nature and restoration process of our livelihood sustenance is also depending upon the bee conservation and restoration. Thank you very much for giving me such an opportunity to say something on this auspicious moment and auspicious topic. Thanks a lot to all dignitaries. Thank you.
Thanks, madam. Thanks a lot for your joining and cooperation. You presented a very deep knowledge about this subject, that too from the angle of anthropological aspect, because that is also very, very important to save life of every teacher. Any teacher and every teacher is still very important from the point of view of human, because humans are very kind and they are supposed to save and look after the life of every teacher. And teachers, they are always giving us benefit one way or other. So this is the bees matter, and that too honeybee, it is really giving us elixir, and that too after a long process of their lifetime. So really, thanks for your this wonderful insights, and our platform is feeling enriched with your knowledge and this contribution. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
So in this way, we got a lot of information regarding the bees protection, and also for the as they are responsible for the pollination. So whenever it comes a matter of pollination, equally just like Santati Niyaman, or we are Ekoham Bahushyamah. From that point of view, it is necessary, may be a case of human beings, creatures, or even the plants. So we are surviving only because the plants are there on Earth, Mother Earth. So this is very important to give more. Not only this, birds, squirrel, every tiny creatures are there, which are responsible for making us available the small plants and then the big trees with the help of their pollination system. So we are really feel indebted for their contribution, which is direct or indirect, but still it is a great contribution for the mankind. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So in this way, our guest speaker.
If you kindly permit, I would like to communicate the next 4 days program, because I will be on continuous tour. I will have to leave Kolkata by 3 a.m. in the morning today. And tomorrow I will be conducting from Bhind, and Bhind is in near to Gwalior. And tomorrow, our new series we are starting. Number 1, cosmetic series, Ayurvedic Saundarya Prasadhan. So our Dr. Surjit Kumar Babaji and Dr. Aruna Tilak will guide us on Saundarya Prasadak. And then day after tomorrow, quality assurance series on phytochemistry and pharmacognosy. After that, on 14th, we have on 13th, sorry, on 13th we have our Lady Woman Wellness Series on Garva Sanskar under Professor Kamini Dhimanji. And then on 14 means Sunday on AYUSH Parmia, Kaya Chikitsa series will be conducted. So on 16th, again Rasashastra series, Potali Kalpana by experts. And second webinar will also be there on just a sec, French Friday, avoid fried food on French Friday. So Dr. Aruna Tilak and Dr. Baba, and I hope Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee will also guide me avoid fried fruits. And then on 17th, we are on 15, 16, 17, 15, 16. अरे कंफ्यूज हो गया साहब मैं बनाते बनाते डिजाइन. On 16, we are conducting medical astrology on Libra, Tula Rashi, and then on that day, World Snake Day is there. So we are conducting webinar with 6 speakers on snake venom, medicinal efficacy and safety. Department of Agattantra, Jagdishwar Romaji and Sakat Kumar Vasuji will guide on that. Till now, I have been able to prepare these designs during webinar, and from tomorrow again I will be on tour. One day in Kolkata, I was there today. Thank you very much, Agnihotri sir.
So in this way, and special thanks and rather one important medal should be given to Professor Pawan Sharmaji from us all from this platform for keeping himself so busy for the traveling work and also for the academic work, and not letting any point or any moment allowed to disturb our schedule in the form of the webinars. So thank you so much for informing us for schedule coming on the for the coming days, say 3-4 days. And definitely our all guest members and all of our platform members are kind enough to cooperate us and to give and share knowledge whatever they are having, and if they are not having, they must inculcate by this time, because the